Welcome back to another video, everyone, and today we have the revival of a show that is very, well, at least appreciated by all of you given the feedback that we have in previous episodes. A very old show here on our channel titled Silver Screen, where we discuss in each episode the work of an actor or actress that is also a photographer, has an interest in photography, has some type of career in the photography world. And so today's not going to be an exception. Today we're going to be talking about the photography of Brendan Fraser, and we're going to be seeing some images, and we're going to discuss some interesting twists and turns that this video had, because not all was what it seemed to be. And so you probably know Brendan Fraser or heard of him, mainly due to his roles in the late 90s movies and early 2000s, such as The Mummy or George of the Jungle. And most recently, Brendan Fraser actually won the Academy Award for Best Actor due to his performance in the movie The Whale, and deservingly so in my opinion. I think it was a very, very difficult role, and he did an amazing job. But anyways, we're not here to discuss acting, we're here to discuss photography. So grab a drink, make yourself comfortable, and let's go straight to another video and to the mystery of Brendan Fraser's photography.
Every night I hope and pray, oh, that your loving baby will come my way. Now go to sleep with one thought on my mind. I love you, baby, yes, and I'm gonna make you mine. Yes, I'm gonna make you mine. Well, no matter what you do, I'm gonna love you, pretty baby. Show you that my love is true.
And I first became aware of Brendan Fraser's photography through an article that I saw on the LA Times that stated this. When you think of Brendan Fraser, you think actor, not photographer. But this weekend, the tall, dark and humorous celeb will kick off a month-long exhibition of his photography in a one-man show at the Gallery 24 downtown. Behind the scenes features pictures he took while on location and in a variety of far-flung locales here and abroad. And so after this, I put on a hat of internet detective and I went on to look for leads or examples of Brendan Fraser's photography, and I apparently found his website. And I opened this time capsule, also called a website, and saw loads of interesting information. There were loads of images and even a self-portrait by Brendan Fraser, where we can see a Leica, which, taking in consideration that most of the photos we see here were taken around the 90s, we can politely guess that he photographed with film, or at least parts of these photos were taken with film. And his photography kind of reminds me of the photography of Jeff Bridges, who is another actor whose photography we've explored here on the channel, in the sense that their photos are behind-the-scenes photos of the productions or locations they worked on. And it's actually very interesting to me that a lot of you from previous videos and comments kind of pinpointed the idea that a lot of actors have started their photography and an interest in photography whilst, you know, behind the scenes of movie making and etc. And I feel like that's not so, you know, I think that's actually quite justifiable. I mean, actors do have a lot of time to kill between takes and between scenes. Sometimes, you know, it takes time to set up a scene with a specific shot, you know, in terms of lighting, in terms of positioning of the camera, movement, etc. And so there's sometimes a lot of time to kill, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone picked up a camera and decided to just entertain themselves, but also to document what they're experiencing, because it's very unlikely that the same group of people will be present again in that same place, meaning that usually that can happen in a sequel if there is one, but that's not usually how it goes. It's kind of a unique experience that you live and then you move on to another production and different people, or perhaps some people, but it's a different movie. So I can see the interest in photographing it, in documenting it as well for posterity. And also, of course, I feel like for a lot of people it's very fascinating to see the behind the scenes of movies, because we see the reality portrayed on screen, or a type of of reality, and then we get to see how that was created. So I feel like it's actually quite justifiable. But anyways, I feel like I should tell you something very, very important, the detail that is important, and that is that actually this website isn't Brendan Fraser's. However, the photography or the photos in it are Brendan Fraser's. I know, it's confusing. According to an insider article which first describes the website with some detail, it then goes on to state that representatives for Fraser confirmed to Insider that the site isn't actually his, meaning that the site's true owner is a mystery. However, it has been confirmed that these pictures were taken by Brendan Fraser. Nevertheless, looking at these pictures makes me even more curious to see what he has captured over the years, and also poses a lot of questions. How does he see his photography, for instance? Is he planning to do any big projects, or is he still doing photography these days? And actually digging on social media made me find a potential answer to this last question, because I found this post which shows an aged Fraser with a Leica, which suggests that he might potentially still be doing photography and just keeping it to himself. And to be honest with you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I feel like a lot of us photograph and we choose some images to share with others, to share on social media, but especially if you're photographing just for yourself or things to do with your personal life and you just want to keep it to yourself, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I feel like perhaps he's just out photographing whatever he sees fit. But I would love to see some more of his photography, which, by the way, I was able to see through the website or through the other images that I had access to in my research. By the way, I apologize for the low resolution of these photos. It was the only way or the only resolution I was able to find them. So it's not not usually my standard. So I do apologize. But I think it gives us a glimpse of Brendan Fraser's an idea of his photography. And so within this collection, I actually chose 2 images that I think were my favorites and that I went through, and I'd like to talk to you about these images. When I look at black and white work, I usually pay a lot of attention to the contrasts, highlights, shadows, and textures. And that's why I feel I prefer these 2 images here. When I first came across this first one, which is part of the series taken whilst filming The Quiet American, I immediately loved it for the textures, the nuanced contrasts, and to be honest with you, for the simplicity in this composition. The second image is the portrait of these 2 wise men in Vietnam, and again, the contrast, the dramatic light, and the fact that their faces are half lit, I think are very nice details and definitely make this image overall a more interesting composition. Now, I feel like it's important to say this, that, within our lives, most of us will probably never experience the level of fame that Brendan Fraser experiences. However, if there is one thing we can probably do better, or we can probably come up with a better solution, is for websites. And for that, you can check out today's sponsor, Pixpa. And I've recently moved both my website and my print shop to Pixpa, where I basically revamped the website, I uploaded new work, I, just created a few new little things, added a little adjustments. And in what sounds like a very long, boring and complex process, actually took me a few clicks. And while I could sit here and tell you why Pixpa is different and you should try it out, Pixpa does that for me by stating 25 reasons as to why you should create your website with them. So from being mobile friendly to collecting online payments directly from your clients, a multitude of apps and built-in SEO tools to all-inclusive and affordable pricing plans, Pixpa is a great platform for all your online needs. And the best way to create a more polished and professional portfolio online as a photographer, designer, artist, or creative is by building your own website. And with Pixpa, you have tons of modern templates you can choose from and be inspired by, as well as 24/7 support, and with over 50 plus possible integrations, you can connect with different social medias and marketing tools that will ensure you achieve more with your website. And if you'd like to see more opinions besides mine, you can do so by going on Trustpilot and checking out the reviews on Pixpa, and they have an overall score of 4.7, which is really a good score, and you can see people's experience, scroll through them, and, read through people's thoughts as well. And I'm going to be leaving links to that and to, of course, Pixpa down below, as well as my discount code that you can use to grab yourself a deal. And now I'd like to thank Pixpa for sponsoring this segment, and let's go back to the video. Now, when I make a video where I feature someone who is, incredibly famous, whether that is a musician, whether that is, an actor that happened to have a love for photography, a lot of people tend to ask, but are they good photographers? Are they photographers? Maybe they're just famous, that's why we pay attention to their photos. I think you obviously are entitled to have whatever vision you want. I personally want to have a vision where I would like to have an open mind and an open heart to these different works, to these people that we wouldn't necessarily expect to be photographers, that I feel it can be so inspiring because, it's contagious to see other people documenting their life, other people photographing their surroundings. And I think you should use this as a motivation or inspiration for you to start documenting more, for you to start paying more attention to the details that are around you. And if we take, lessons during the videos we do, if we just talk about certain images like we did today, take it as an inspiration, take it on board, and who cares if they're good photographers or not. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone today is able to pick up a phone or pick up whatever and take a picture with it. I mean, your granny can, your dog will probably too. So I guess that, it's not up for discussion, who's a photographer, who's not a photographer. I mean, at the end of the day, theoretically speaking, everyone can take pictures. Whether if they're a photographer or not, that's a different question, or what entails, artistically speaking, of being a photographer. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Links to my socials will be down below. You're welcome to check it out. Check out the new website as well. Loads of new information there, some cool projects as well. So check it out as well if you'd like to do so, of course. And for those of you that like to participate more or like to support the channel, link to the members community is down below. Loads of YouTube channels have that, so you're welcome to join if you would like to, if you can afford to. And in there, I'm producing videos, exclusive videos. And the last one was the actually mini documentary on the story behind the photo of Muhammad Ali versus Sonny Liston. Very controversial moment in the sports photography, very controversial photo, still very famous and still a photo we can take a lot from. Anyways, I'd like to thank you, and with that I'll say my goodbyes. So stay safe, keep shooting, keep creating, and I'm out. Peace.
Seen it all, you can't all benefit too. Femme fatale, I can't fall in love with you. Seen it